When that occurs, the stimulation that's being created, and we see these high gamma patterns that are off the scale. The arousal that's taking place is not taking place from anything out there in the environment. It's not taking place from the sports car, or the wardrobe, or the movie, or the cell phone. It's happening inside the person, and all of a sudden, that's a new feeling. They've never had that feeling before, and they start feeling connected. The side effect of that is even greater levels of order in the brain, and all of a sudden, the heart gets very turned on, it gets very signaled, and the person is moving into an elevated state. And that kind of combination of energy between the heart and the brain causes the person to become creative. Not a little creative, but really seeing possibilities. They're conscious of things they were never conscious before, and that's a greater level of awareness, and that's a greater level of energy. And so people all of a sudden start seeing synchronicities that start taking place in their life because they have a coherent brain and a coherent heart, and you got a Wi-Fi signal, and you feel connected to something. You don't feel separate. Stress causes us to feel separation and lack, and this feeling makes you feel whole, and all of a sudden all the things that you wanted because you were in lack, you no longer want because you feel like you have them. And that's the kind of place where you can relax more into the present moment and enjoy the sunset and enjoy the meal and enjoy the conversation and enjoy the connection because you're present. And I say that that's a skill.
Today, you will learn everything you need to know to turn your life into a beautiful adventure. Many people struggle with accepting these teachings 100%. They agree with them, but they hesitate to use it. It seems too simple to be true. But you don't need to look at this as just a theoretical concept. You can look at this teaching as a practical concept, as a concept with common sense. For example, saying that you are the creator or your consciousness makes common sense. Because without your consciousness, your true essence, you as a character in this world wouldn't exist, nor your friends or your family. As a matter of fact, without you conscious, the whole world wouldn't exist. Not even God. That should make sense. Without your consciousness or your imagination, you couldn't do anything. Can you become a wealthy person if you never see yourself being wealthy in your mind first? It just doesn't have anything with common sense. You are the creator. You are the electromagnetic being. You are the magnet, and that's scientifically proven. You can remember how you were thinking and feeling in the past few weeks, and you will see the evidences in your life that confirm those thoughts and feelings. Your life should be your proof that your world and your life are just a physical reflection of your inner drama, of your state of being. You don't need to wish for something or try to achieve something. You only need to become that person right now. And keep that picture in your mind long enough and you will start seeing the outer reflection change. Your physical world will always reflect what you think and feel about yourself. Let me ask you something strange. What does it mean to you to be supernatural? To me, being supernatural means being able to change your body just by thinking. It means being more than your body. It also means overcoming challenges that most people can't, and changing your future. Is this only for ancient yogis and superheroes, or is there proof that everyone can do it? Let's start with some basics about your brain. Think of it like having 3 brains in one. The first brain is your neocortex, which is where your conscious thoughts happen. It's the biggest and most advanced part, and it connects you to reality. It's divided into different areas, and the biggest part is the frontal brain. This part is like the CEO, or the leader of a symphony. The frontal lobe helps us make decisions, focus, be creative, and control our emotions. It's like the boss of our brain's actions and thoughts. Other parts of the brain have their own jobs too. For example, the back part, called the occipital lobe, deals with sight. There are also areas for feeling sensations, moving, making memories, and understanding ourselves. When we learn something new, our brain forms new connections. Research shows that concentrating on one thing for just an hour can double these connections, which is like physical proof of learning. All this knowledge gets stored in the neocortex, our thinking brain. The next step is to use this knowledge in our lives. If we can match our actions with our thoughts, our mind and body work together better, giving us new experiences. When we're experiencing things, our senses send information to our brain, which then organizes it into patterns. When you have an experience, it affects the way your brain thinks. This triggers the emotional part of your brain, which releases chemicals that make you feel certain ways, like happy or free. So, when you feel a certain way, your body learns to understand it chemically, not just intellectually. This emotional part of the brain also controls things your body does automatically, like breathing and heart rate. When you have an experience that triggers emotions, it changes your body. If you can create that experience again and again, you start to train your mind and body to work together. Doing something repeatedly creates habits or skills. Eventually, you don't even have to think about it anymore. It becomes automatic. This is because your brain forms memories that you don't have to consciously remember. Our goal is to move from just knowing things to experiencing them and then to truly understanding them. People all over the world are using this approach to heal from illnesses, overcome challenges, and even have amazing spiritual experiences. And they're just regular folks like you and me. Let's discuss how our brain works in different ways. You may have heard that when you lose brain cells, they don't come back. But there's a new field called neurogenesis, which is about growing new brain cells. Research shows that when people learn new things and have new experiences, they actually grow new brain cells. And this change starts happening in just 4 days. In the past, scientists thought brain cells couldn't grow back, but they were studying animals in boring environments. If there's no new stuff to do or see, the brain doesn't change much. Now let's think about you. If you think the same thoughts every day, your brain and body stay the same. But what if new thoughts lead to new choices, new behaviors, and new experiences? Our research says that when you change your thoughts, everything else changes too. Another idea is coherence, which is like having rhythm or order in your brain. When you're stressed, your brain gets all jumbled up, like a storm in the clouds. This makes it hard for your brain to work properly, and you feel out of sorts. We have 3 special brains that help us think, act, and just be. Each brain is like its own computer in our bodies. They have their own parts, chemicals, and ways of working. They even have their own stories and understanding of time and space. The first brain is called the neocortex. It's the newest part in our evolution and looks like a wrinkly walnut on the outside. It's the most advanced and specialized, especially in humans. Right below it is the limbic brain, which handles emotions and chemicals in our bodies. It's about the size of a lemon. Then there's the cerebellum, at the back of the brainstem, known as the reptilian brain. It's the oldest part of our brains and controls things we do without thinking, like breathing. Our brains are made up of about 100 billion nerve cells, or neurons. If you stacked 100 billion sheets of paper on top of each other, it would be as tall as the distance from Los Angeles to London. Neurons can store and share information with each other. The neocortex, or thinking brain, is where our conscious thoughts happen. When we learn something new, our brain makes new connections. For example, when you read a book or learn a new skill, your brain physically changes to remember that information. This principle is called nerve cells that fire together, wire together. These connections form networks in our brains, like groups of neurons working together. These networks help us remember things, learn skills, or even have thoughts. Our brains generate more electrical impulses in one day than all the cell phones on Earth put together. In simple terms, the mind is what happens when our brain is active. It's like the brain's job. Because our brain is made up of so many nerve cells, it can work in different ways. When it works differently, our mind changes too. Your brain is like a big jigsaw puzzle, and each time it works on something, it's like putting the pieces together in new ways. When you understand something in your head, but then actually use it in your life, your behavior changes. And when your actions change, you have new experiences. When you're experiencing something like seeing, smelling, or feeling things, your brain is taking it all in. It sorts through this information, and when it finds a pattern it likes, it releases chemicals called emotions. These emotions enrich your brain circuits and create memories in your emotional brain. So let's say you read a book that really inspires you. You think about it a lot, talk to others about it, and it starts shaping your thoughts and actions. Maybe you become more compassionate or forgiving. But then something happens, like a reminder of a past hurt, and those old feelings come rushing back. The key is, our brain loves routines. It likes to put things on autopilot, so we don't always remember mundane stuff like what we had for dinner. But when something big happens, like 9/11s, it sticks in our memory because it changes how we feel inside. So when you're going through life and learning new things, remember, it's not just your brain at work, it's your mind evolving with every experience. Stress is when your body gets thrown off balance, like when you see a lion and your body gears up to deal with danger. But it doesn't have to be a real lion. Even just thinking about something stressful can trigger the same reaction. When your brain sends signals to your body that you're stressed, it prepares you for action. Your heart might beat faster, your breathing changes, and you might feel tense. This reaction used to be helpful when facing real danger, but if it happens too often, it can lead to health problems. The interesting thing is, when you start thinking about what's stressing you out, you can actually observe your own thoughts and feelings. This is called metacognition. It's like being able to step back and see what's going on in your own mind. When you notice that your thoughts are stressing you out, you can start to change them. Your brain can rewire itself, creating new connections and pathways. This helps you react differently to stressful situations in the future. So, when you're feeling stressed, you can use what you've learned to calm yourself down and approach the situation in a better way. This is called setting an intention, and it helps your brain prepare for what's ahead. There's something really fascinating happening inside your brain, like a tiny, intricate dance between different parts. Picture this. You're trying to think more compassionately, but your brain is used to thinking in certain ways based on your past experiences. So, as you try to focus on compassion, all these other thoughts pop up, like feeling annoyed at your mother-in-law or wanting to skip that dinner. But if you keep focusing on compassion with determination, eventually, that thought becomes the strongest one in your mind. And when that happens, your brain makes it more permanent by sealing the connections involved in that compassionate thought. As these new connections strengthen, the old ones start to fade away. The memories of past hurts or negative feelings lose their power. All that's left is this new feeling of compassion. And when you keep practicing compassion, something amazing happens. Your body starts to feel it too. Your heart opens up and you genuinely start to feel compassion. It's like your body is learning from your mind's understanding. But it's not a one-time thing. You have to keep practicing compassion until it becomes second nature, like a habit. And when you reach that point, it's not just something you do, it's who you are. And when you're truly in that state of being, you inspire others to do the same. That's how we change the world, by changing ourselves. Understanding how our brains work can empower us to make positive changes in our lives. By recognizing the power of our thoughts and emotions, we can actively shape our experiences and relationships. Remember, transformation is a journey that requires patience and practice, but the rewards are profound. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel for more insights on personal growth and neuroscience. We'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What's the biggest takeaway you got from this video? Your feedback helps us create content that resonates with you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.